Hello everyone, welcome back to Black Moon Coven. So today we're going to be doing a subscriber requested video. You know who you are. We're going to be talking more about bones. So I got requested to do this video all about different bones and their associations and how I work with bones and how I describe the associations of animals and things like that. So bone work is very specific to each witch, just kind of like everything is specific to each witch. And depending on the associations, this is kind of how I figure it out. But without further ado, I kind of want to show you guys some new additions to my bone collection. So you guys have all seen this beautiful deer vertebrae that I got. And this actually was in the hydrogen peroxide last time you guys seen it. So now you can see how white and how clean it came out, and you could see that the method is very effective. It's very good, and I just have to scrub a little bit deeper, but it's just a beautiful piece. And this little bone actually holds my offerings for Baba Yaga. So I usually leave cigarettes out for her because she loves tobacco, she loves liquor and stuff like that, so I leave cigarettes out in this little vertebrae, which I think is so cute. And I think I'm going to do a video on working with Baba Yaga as well. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comments. You guys know my fox jaw little pendulum here that I have. And I love working with it. It's gotten me some crazy awesome results. Better than crystals, I find. So I feel like bones are kind of more my thing than crystals. That's totally fine. You could be attracted to crystals, you could be doing bones, you could do herbs. You know, every witch is beautiful. This lovely little piece is actually a cat jawbone. So we actually found this little piece. My boyfriend actually found it for me. This poor cat actually died, passed away. And the bone, the jawbone, was actually only left, and it has these little teeth in it. And it's so cute, and it's going to be just perfect for my bone throwing set. So I have two jawbones, a vertebrae. I have this big shark's tooth that I actually picked up today from the science store. They're actually pretty cheap, about $3, but it's nice and big and just a really good size with my bone throwing set. So I kind of want a set that's medium in size, kind of more so just like this. So this actually works pretty well with the tooth. The next bone is this deer bone. So I did an unboxing of this bone, and my dummy forgot that I put my address in the actual video, so I had to delete the video, couldn't re-upload it. But anyways, here is the deer bone from that, and this is a leg bone, and I kind of use it as a ritual wand. Now, I don't really use it all that much. I use it only for very specific rituals. So if I'm doing something very powerful, something that I need protection with, I usually draw circles with this bone. Now, notice that I say draw circles instead of cast circles, because I don't cast circles. I draw circles with herbs or with bones or with different things, and I will do a video about that if you guys are interested. Just a different method of circle casting. And my newest addition, so it's just came out of the hydrogen peroxide, and I'm actually degreasing it now. So I'm not going to be touching it too much, but this is actually a catfish jawbone. Isn't that cool? And I have a little piece of vertebrae and an actual little fin. So that is super cool. I actually have all that stuff. My boyfriend actually found it down by the river in the forest where we actually walk, and it's beautiful, and I'm just so unique, and I've never had anything like that, and it's going to go into my bone throwing set. And the little fin and vertebrae I could use for different things, maybe a charm or just different workings. I know you guys seen my charm, you know, my spirit charm with the raccoon teeth. I also have some coyote and fox teeth So I have some little fox and coyote teeth in here, little itty bitty ones. I have a molar and then a little couple of canines. And I use them for different charm work and things like that. I also have some shark teeth, and this is actually a charm that's available on my Etsy site. And it's just 2 little shark teeth inside of a glass vial. Shark teeth is great for healing, for protection, stuff like that. So it just hangs on a little string. So if anyone's interested, go check out my Etsy site for that. And I also acquired through the internet some little raccoon knuckle bones, which are pretty cool, and I might throw a couple in my bone set, and I like to use them for jewelry and certain things. So when working with bones, please make sure to never touch them with your hands, okay? Especially if you find them in the wild. Make sure that you never touch them with your hands. Bring a bag, bring something with you. If you have to pick them up with a leaf or come back a different day to get them, totally fine. Just make sure you never pick them up with your hands. There are a lot of different bacteria out there. You don't want to be catching any of that stuff. So always, when you find bones, respect the spirit within the animal and within the earth where you found the bones. So when I found this catfish skull and thin bones, and there was a couple other little bones, so I knew that the spirit of the animal, that is its final resting place. That is where it resided, and that is where it's going to be. So when you find bones like that, I like to do a ritual called the sacred taking. Now, if you follow me on Witches and Pagans Amino, then you already know about the sacred taking because I posted it a couple days ago. But anytime I have to harvest something like graveyard dirt or bones or wands or something from a tree where I'm actually taking something from something or removing something from its final resting place, I like to do that sacred taking just to appease the spirits, because I feel like the spirit of the catfish is here within these bones. So I uprooted it from its final resting place and brought it home with me. So you always want to ask permission and be polite and be respectful. So the sacred taking, very simple ritual where you basically give an offering and you ask the spirit to come along with you. So you ask it with your pendulum to come along with you, and if they say yes, awesome. If they say no, then unfortunately you leave empty-handed. However, do not take back the offering. Just kind of leave the offering there as a peace offering and the spirit will be happy. However, if you want to read more about the sacred taking, definitely follow me on Witches and Pagans Amino and you will know all about it there. I give you a full rundown of materials, how to go about doing that, and when it's necessary and when it totally isn't. So back to bone work. The subscriber asked how I assign associations to bones. Now, on the internet, there isn't a lot of information on this matter. I don't know if everyone does it or not. Bones have an association, obviously, of the earth, because they're animals here on earth, and of spirit, because now they're passed away. So now there's an element of spirit going on here. So we have a deer spirit, a shark, cat, fox, and catfish and raccoon. We have all these animals here with us tonight, and that's kind of a spirit working in itself. So animals have spirits, plants have spirits, everything has a spirit. So here we are with all of these spirits, and you want to always respect spirits and stuff like that. So how do I do associations? Well, like I said, all bones have an association of earth and of spirit. So you can use them for those associations. If you want to do necromancy, you could do with bones like these. You can do divination, you can do earth magic, you can do different charms and spells and stuff like that. However, I believe that each bone, depending on what part of the body is from, has its own association. And then depending on the animal has an association as well. And if you want to go that deep into it, that's completely your choice. That's kind of something that I like to do. So let's talk about the biggest bone here, the deer. The deer is an animal of magic. It's an animal of transformation. It's an animal of deep physical and it's an animal of pure magic and transformation. It has horns. It's a horned god. A lot of people associate that with spirit guides and forest spirits. I associate it with kind of the king of the forest. So when forest spirits appear, I think of them as deer, especially bucks, you know. So this bone to me is very powerful. That's why I got it as a wand, because it's a very powerful magical component, just as all of these bones are, but the deer especially has a kind of superiority over all of the other forest animals there. He is the king of the forest. And then a leg bone is for movement. It's for stride. It's for strength. You know, you can't really break it. It's not brittle. So that's kind of what I associate those different associations with. So we'll go on to, again, the vertebrae. So the deer, again, magical, transformational. He's the horned god. And the vertebrae, I think of the strength, you know, because it's a spine. So if you have a stiff spine or a weak spine, that talks about strength. So I think of it as strength, as courage. And notice that I assign my own associations to bones because there is not a lot of information, but just think about the animal and what it represents in the world and in the earth. And then think about where the bone came from, what part of the body, and what does it mean. So the shark, let's talk about this shark tooth. So the shark, he's a predator, okay? So this shark tooth can be used for protection. It could be used in curse work. It could be used in different things. But when I think about teeth, you know, they kind of rip into things, especially a shark's tooth. He's ripping into things. That is how he gets his meals, his nutrition, his value. So when I think about a shark's tooth, I think about protection. I think about just different things. You know, it's really kind of hard to do associations on the spot, but just think about each animal and where they represent and all of their associations within the earth. So jawbones, great for communication because it comes from the jaw, especially the cat. Very sly, very cunning, very mysterious. Another animal heavily associated with magic. So great jawbone for a pendulum. Very, very great. Catfish, okay? So this is a little different because this bone came from the water. So you could actually associate it with spirit, with earth, and with water. So you have this animal that's crossed many thresholds. So it's actually very, very powerful. And you could think of the catfish as he burrows deep underneath. So you could think of him as crossing different thresholds. Very, very, very interesting and very unique creature. It's great. And you could think of the skull as kind of hard-headedness, you know, and then the spine, of course, as courage, and then strength, and then fins as mobility, stealthiness, movement, stride. So just think about what each bone represents, what part of the body it has come from, and kind of what animal it came from. If that makes sense, hopefully this was an okay video. I know I kind of stumbled along here, but yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed it, and hopefully everyone enjoyed talking about bones a little bit more. I'm really excited to get more into bone work. This is a growing collection I have here, so there is more to come. So I will be making more and more videos, especially when my bone throwing set continues to grow. Right now, I have the cat jawbone, the shark tooth, the catfish skull, and then I'm going to put in a couple of knuckle bones into the bone throwing set, and then we will do some videos once it gets to the unlucky number 13. But there you go. Hopefully the video was great and awesome, and hopefully you guys liked it, especially my subscriber out there. Hopefully I answered all of your questions, and if not, put them in the comments below and I will answer them. So join the coven and subscribe if you are into creepy little witchcraft things like me, and if you are into bone work, curse working, different stuff, witchcraft all around, join the coven and subscribe. And follow me on all my social media, and definitely have a beautiful, lovely rest of your day.